Previously, the groups found themselves in what is colloquially referred to as an utter shit show. Calroth watched in amusement from his ship while Cassian handled everything on the docks. It became clear very quickly that Cassian was extremely dangerous when he had a lute in hand, and many of the group began focusing on keeping that from happening. Taria grappled him and held him underwater for a bit, while the others fought the various mind-controlled people in the crowd who'd been tricked into fighting for him. Also, Oz. Not that any of the group recognized him. More on that in a minute. Cassian managed to get out of Taria's grasp and start playing again, which once more quickly became a problem. Several people went unconscious and were brought back to their feet. Sean threw up a silent spell around Cassian, which bought them a little bit of time, since, once again, the ability to play music was the problem with him. Eventually, a Thalakran half-elf pirate, who definitely may have been the Bearkin formerly known as Oz, who the group had been fighting against for, a chunk of the fight, broke the mind control on him and started fighting on their side. More of the group went down and were brought back to the bare minimum of consciousness, and around that point, Keelan realized that Cassian was a fucking shadow spawn, which meant they had to do the ritual if they wanted to finish him off. Tharizian bluffed his way through the first part of the ritual, not knowing the actual words to use, but well aware of the intent behind them. Taria managed to get Sean conscious again before doing the second part of the ritual. Then a very bloodied Sean called out a mass healing word to get everyone conscious again before she finished the ritual and saw Cassian off with a middle finger wishing him adieu as he was pulled back into the Shadow Realm. The fight over, a very confused Tornak asked the random half-elf man who'd helped them in the fight if he'd seen a Bearkin. Tisha, one of the previously mind-controlled people, called out Yuri at that point, which was a name that Sean knew from a slip of the tongue from Zaya quite some time before. She, at least, then realized that the half-elf man was the same person they'd known as Oz. Around that point, Calroth told the group he'd see them in the future and sailed off. Unbeknownst to him, he had a Taria attached to the bottom of his ship. She spent the next 10 minutes carving a magic mouth spell into his ship with the sole intention of annoying the fuck out of him. Then she headed back to shore to rejoin the others. Yuri spent a little time alternating between apologizing to the group for various things and reconnecting with a lot of people on the docks who now recognized him since he didn't look like a bear kid anymore. An impromptu celebration started as a large number of people in the city realized they had been charmed and their minds were now their own again. Yuri, Tornak, and Tharizian headed to Ned's porthole to join the large party starting there. Sean headed back to the keep to fill Kai Gilbert in on what had happened, since a giant riot happening near the docks and half the city being mind-controlled was something the guard probably needed to know about sooner rather than later. Keelan waited on the shore for Taria to return from her secret ship graffitiing mission, and the two of them eventually headed back to the keep as well. Taria went off to talk with her father, while Keelan borrowed Sean for some magical assistance. And that is where we left off.